Hello everyone and welcome to the next devlog of Management Done Right, my chaotic restaurant simulator. I'm going to be working on this game this whole week and we'll see what happens. The first thing I want to work on is this funny bug where if the game ends because you ran out of money and you press escape, then you get the pause screen, then you can just press play and continue playing. Additionally, it'll even give you money. I don't know why it does this and I'm going to go find out now. So now it's fixed. I can press escape and nothing happens and the money is gone. So it turns out I was resetting the money to 150 because that's how much you start with when you start the game, except I was doing that as soon as you lose, so the money counter just went up to that, but minus some because it still took away money for the things you had to buy that day. Next up, I'm going to add a feature that was suggested to me, and I think it's a really good idea, and that is tooltips. So if I hover over these holdable items, you can see that they get brighter to show that that's what I'm going to pick up if I click right now. But it's still kind of hard to tell in certain situations what I'm going to pick up. For example, here I'm actually going to pick up the lettuce that's under there. So I'm just going to add a little text box that shows up that has the name of the item that you're hovering over. I am making this game in Unity, so making this UI should be pretty easy. And here's the final result. It's very small, but I didn't want it to get in the way, and now I can see exactly what I'm clicking on. I do want to add so much more functionality to this, like showing you what will happen when you click on things. Like for example here, instead of plate, I'd like it to say place down lettuce, because if I click on this plate, it'll actually place down the lettuce. Today was full of adding little features that make interacting with the game a little easier, and this last feature I added today was no different. So I made it so if you put things on a plate, you can just take the whole plate by clicking on it, while before you would take the specific ingredient that you clicked on out of the burger. But you can still press shift to get the previous behavior and take things out one at a time. And this was the default before, which was annoying because you'd want to pick up the whole burger and click on the burger and then bam, silly manager. It'll now be a lot easier to interact with the plates. And all the customizability of before is still there, just hidden under the shift button. But it's been a busy day, so I think I'm just going to call it here for the night. So today I want to create the graphical elements for the build mode, because currently players need to use the number keys to choose what they want to place, but what I really want is a UI over here on the left that is a grid of items that we can select and choose what we want to place down in the world. So here I have an example item entry, but it's in a scroll list and I can duplicate this and it'll extend as needed, and then in-game I can scroll up and down. This UI is currently quite ugly. I will definitely change it later in development, but I really don't want to get caught up in details like that right now. Currently I'm just using the silly game icon, but I'll replace those with renders of the items that are being sold. And that might be a bit tricky because I really just want to generate these as the game loads, and that'll involve spawning the item and the camera, rendering the item, and then deleting those things and using the result as the icon. But before I even get working on that, I'm noticing some more issues. Like the background actually lets me click through it and place items down, so that's probably not good. Also, it's not scaling with the game window, so it's really small on this big screen. And also there's just Pat. What? It even says plate in the inspector. There's no reason it should say Pat. Oh yeah, and scrolling also moves both of them at the same time. So that's gotta be fixed too. What? Only some of the L's are rendering? I've never seen this before. So that boatload of things is already fixed. So I can click on the UI and it won't place things behind it. But if I click in the cafe, it'll still work as normal. The scaling is correct now. When I increased the size, it fixed the rendering issues automatically, so yay! It seems that the L was too small to even take up a pixel on the screen. It also removed little items like lettuce and cheese that weren't supposed to be there by themselves. You can't buy those directly. But anyways, I'm gonna call it for today. I'm gonna try adding the icons tomorrow. Unfortunately, I was not able to do much today because time got away from me. But I was able to get these icons somewhat put together. I finally got a camera to render these icons, but you're probably wondering, where on earth is this camera? Well, when the scene loads, a camera is spawned in the middle of the scene, which happens to be at this unflattering angle. This of course is very different than how it is supposed to function. Eventually, it will spawn a camera far away from the center of the scene with the appropriate item. Then it will render what the camera sees to the icon. And yeah, the background would be a strange blue color because of the skybox, but I'll just set it to a plain color instead. The game also searches for an image in the object mod directory and uses it if it can find it. So these icons can be custom pictures. Anyway, that's it for today. It's been another busy day outside of game development, so unfortunately I was not able to do much, and also there was a lot of back-end stuff to do. But as you can see, I have the items now rendering. The issue now is that we're just selling a literal basket, but it doesn't come with anything. So I need to actually sell variants of this basket that have the different items that you can buy. Because this basket is technically one item, it's just filled with different items, which makes it different, which is kind of tricky to implement in the system I have. For example, here's the item file for the basket. What I want to implement is this variants tag. And then the types here will be the parameters for each variant. So we'll have lettuce, meat, cheese variants, and so on. And the variant is basically just a basket filled with that item. And I didn't really explain it, but this file type is the item file type, and it's a file type I just made up that stores data about items in the game. It's loosely based on JSON, but also completely different. This game is being made with modding in mind, so it's easier for me to add stuff to the game, and also it's easier for other people to add their own custom content to the game. I'm constantly updating it as the game requires, and I definitely need to add that variants tag now. With a lot of back-end work, I finally got the variants fully implemented. So each of the listings with a bucket is the same bucket item, but each variant is filled with a different item. But there's a problem, and it's not this random counter over here. It's hard to see the lettuce and cheese in the baskets. At some point I want to add a little icon on the box directly that shows which item it holds, but I'm not going to worry about that for now. So instead I'll just change the angle a bit and call it a day. So I was working on implementing the part where you can click on a listing and then click in the world to place it down, but the following kind of happened first. It turns out I was able to click and just place these buckets right on the ground, and they do not like that. But honestly, it is so fun just to sit here and watch these boxes spin around. I mean, that cheese is definitely going in an almost perfect circle in the air, and the lettuce looks like it's turning into a car and just going wherever it wants to. I can't even sell these buckets, but I can place counters down and mess with them even more. And really, I just want to sit here and add more and more of these buckets. This should be its own game mode. Why is this so fun? I really like this lettuce bucket that's just trying to escape the cafe now. Oh, and I think they're gonna make it. Nope, it's just gonna hang there on the edge. That's fine, it has free will, it can do what it wants. But wait, is that another lettuce box challenging them for a race? I think it is. Look at them go, who will win? It was the top one. Nice try, bottom lettuce bucket. Okay, back to work. But not before a nice walk. I have finally implemented probably the most important part of it all. I can finally select this cheese over here and click to place it down. So now I can select anything in the store and click to place that specific item down. However, sometimes it deletes the counter behind when I want to place it down. The tile that you have selected even turns a different color, purple. That was supposed to be green, but okay. After a few more bug fixes and improvements, we are finally at a good place to finish. So I can select the cheese. If I place down in an empty tile, it'll create a counter for me, but I can just add it straight to a counter if I want. I can also deselect that and go into delete mode, so now I can target these things and get a refund. And that even works for the plates too. And believe me, these things used to give you infinite money just by buying and getting a refund over and over and over, but no more. I also threw away completely what I was going to do before and instead just went for this nice little list of variants, and then the script just fills the bucket up with whatever the name of the variant is. So if the variant is cheese, the bucket gets filled with cheese. Unfortunately, that is all I have time for this week. It has been an extremely busy week in real life, so I couldn't get as much as I wanted to done, but I'm glad I got the UI done and cleared out those bugs. I will be posting more devlogs, but I can't quite work on this full time right now. But this project has been in the works for years, and I've had so much fun working on all of the little systems. I'm not burnt out at all, and I will be back. I hope you all enjoyed this silly little devlog. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please do subscribe, and I will see you all next time.